Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Friday, August 2nd, 2024. If you could please subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. There's so much happening. There's going to be a lot of mutability in the sky, which means that on one level, things can go in very many different directions. We're going to have Saturn, which is how we anchor and structure our goals. It's the reality planet, form a challenging square to Jupiter, which is the opposite. Jupiter's like the Santa Claus transit, which gives you gifts and opens doors even if you don't earn them necessarily. And Jupiter is how we expand and magnetize things. And they're making a challenging square, an exact square, on the 19th of August. But there are going to be a lot of other points squaring that too. So I will get more into that. I've talked about that before. There's going to be a mutable T-square with Mars in Gemini, which is also a mutable air sign. Very adaptable, very good at accumulating and gathering information and learning and teaching. Mars and Jupiter will meet up on the 14th of August. Getting into the second half is going to have all of this, twists and turns with it. And the thing is, for some of us, maybe we're going to see with all of this Gemini energy that there's more than one solution. Mercury retrogrades on the 4th of August at 9:56 p.m. Pacific time, and on the 5th at 12:56 a.m. Eastern time at 4 degrees and 7 minutes of the mutable earth sign of Virgo. Mercury rules Gemini and it rules Virgo. And when you have Mercury retrograding in its dignity, you really feel it. And I've already been feeling the energy. Many have already. Mercury initially entered Virgo on July 25th. It will be there on and off through September 26th. It's retrograding in two signs. So right now, as I discussed in the last video, it's in its dignity. Virgo is about analyzing, improving. It already is a sign very centered on habits, on perfecting things, on getting organized and doing a lot of hard work. So I think on some level, this is actually a great cosmic opportunity for all of us, because it's an opportunity to reconsider how we can improve things. Now, when Mercury retrogrades, and we're already feeling that energy because Mercury is already in its shadow. When it went into Virgo, I think it kicked it up even more, and it's retrograding in 2 days. So we're feeling it. It will return to the sign of Leo on August 14th. And that is also the day that Mars meets up with Jupiter in Gemini. So that's going to be expanding Mars-like energy, people being potentially very irascible. But also it could be Mars and Jupiter together can be an aspect of good fortune. Again, maybe you're reassessing what's not working in your life and some options come up for you that are actually helpful. You just have to be very flexible with this energy. We're going to have a lot of points in mutable signs because we have a new moon on Sunday, and the new moon occurs at 7:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 12 degrees and 34 minutes of Leo. Now, right now, leading up to this, Mars, which is how we take action, in the sign of Gemini, is making a very good aspect to the North Node of Karma. Mars rules the sign of Aries, and that's where the North Node is transiting. And the Sun recently just made a good aspect. So bringing perhaps fated or opportune connections, opportunities that emerge. Again, there's going to be a lot of challenge because Venus, the planet of love and beauty, will also enter Virgo on Sunday at 10:23 p.m. Eastern Time. But before that, it's finishing up its round in Leo. It's getting to Regulus, the royal fixed star. And that's where the total solar eclipse occurred on on August 20th of 2017. That was at Regulus. That hit the whole, that was visible in basically the entire United States. Most states, a lot of states, it was completely visible, but it was visible in most parts, right? So Regulus is where it's the king maker and the queen maker. It's where you rise in authority. And in the new moon chart, because the new moon occurs early in the morning, Venus is still in Leo. It's at the last degree of Leo. And it's actually in conjunct Neptune. And remember, Neptune is my big focal point. Neptune at the final degree of the zodiac, at the fixed star known as Shiat, which is connected with self-undoing and suicide and depression and escapism and drugs. And it also is in the charts of many people I know that are, or a couple people in particular, empaths, creative people, really lovely people. So this doesn't have to be doom and gloom, but realistically, with Saturn in Pisces, that's a time where society focuses very much on mental health. AA was founded in 1935 with Saturn in Pisces. A more recent round, well, the last two rounds I can think of, in the late 60s, a lot of drugs were pervading the youth culture more than ever, and it was a very creative and artistic time. But that's when really the 27 Club was formed as we know it. That's when the term was coined, right? And then in the early 90s, there was a heroin epidemic, and that is when Kurt Cobain, who had Saturn at Shiat, he had Saturn in Pisces. He was a Pisces, and he had it right at 28 degrees of Pisces, and he took his life, unfortunately, in April of '94. And so this is where we do want to figure out, we're in very challenging times. Saturn and Neptune have not been co-present since since 1848, and really close in the mid 1500s. So this doesn't happen very frequently, but we want to work with a dream and knowing that this month is going to be a bit chaotic. And this is an opportunity to ground, even though it may not feel like it. I actually feel a little more supercharged by Mercury retrograding in Virgo. I have my moon in Virgo. I'm also experiencing a Neptune transit that is acute. So I feel lost in space with Neptune squaring my ascendant. And I feel like I'm living part of the Neptune at Shiat. I am, as are all of us. But some of us are not experiencing it directly. But as a collective, we definitely are. And this is a big deal. And so in the new moon chart, think of it as, the sun is in its dignity in Leo. It loves being in Leo. Venus shines. She's confident. She's stylish. She's hot in Leo, and she's at Regulus, the royal fixed star. You noticed her, but she's also in conjunct Neptune. There's something from keeping her from her passion or her confidence, perhaps. And yet the North Node in Aries is saying you have to embolden yourself in these challenging times. You got to try. You have to try to believe in yourself and try to initiate something on your own. And the other thing that I noticed that in this chart, there is a grand trine with Juno is at 28 degrees of Virgo. That's an asteroid connected with partnering. It's forming a trine, which is when they're 120 degrees apart, to Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is shocking and surprising and startling, but can also be incredibly innovative and very intellectually creative. It can come up with a lot of ideas too. It's the higher octave of Mercury. And they're both forming a trine out of sign to Pluto and Aquarius. And Pluto will dip back in to 29 degrees. It's going to ingress back into Capricorn on September 1st. So it's very close. So you've got the three forming a grand trine. Pluto trine Uranus, and having it in Aquarius, Pluto, making a good aspect to Uranus, which rules the sign of Aquarius. How can we up level what we're doing? How can we build community? Venus Neptune, there's a need for readjustment with that. And the new moon chart, I cast it for the East Coast, for Washington, D.C. The new moon falls in the 12th house, which is the Pisces house. spirituality, creativity, needing rest. Neptune at the final degree of Pisces, needing rest, people feeling exhausted and drained. And today, Venus squares Uranus. It already did early this morning at 9:13 a.m. Eastern Time. And that can be exciting. That can be fun. Venus is still in Leo. It enters Virgo on the 4th at 10:23 p.m. And that will add more of the Mercury energy. So bear in mind, we've got Mercury retrograde in Virgo. We have Venus entering Virgo on Sunday the 4th. It will be in Virgo through August 29th. And it is in its fall position in Virgo because it's exalted in the opposite sign of Pisces. Venus in Virgo is very nitpicky. It's very detail oriented. It's going to augment the Mercury retrograde story. So for all of us, if we don't like how we're obtaining our joy or going for our passions or not going for them because we don't feel confident in that, this is an opportunity to reevaluate how you can be more linear, how you can organize more. This is an excellent time for decluttering. I just see my book in the background. I don't care because I need to get this message out. And so it's an opportunity for fine tuning, cleaning, getting organized, and also practicing some self-care. Neptune at the last degree of Pisces, that's going to be there through September 4th. We've got Mercury retrograding in Virgo, which is a sign of health, habits, daily routine. Mercury will return to the sign of Leo. I just saw Leo go right behind me on August 14th, and he just said yes. And it's going to be on August 14th, and it will remain in Leo through September 9th. Mercury stations direct on September 28th, on August 28th, the day before Venus leaves Virgo. And it's going to be on September 28th at 21 degrees and 24 minutes of Leo. That is what this new moon is saying. Go for what makes you happy. There is light. There is something that brings optimism. What do you want to manifest and create that gives you joy, that makes you happy, that's creative and passionate, and it makes you happy, again. And so, although Venus doesn't love being in Virgo, it might be good for all of us to really go over the details and fine tune what we want to accomplish. When Mercury retrogrades, that obviously also affects Mars and Jupiter in Gemini because they're also in a sign ruled by Mercury. So again, reanalyzing and reassessing how you can be more effective with Mars and Gemini, how you can expand more of what you're trying to expand. Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini because it rules the opposite sign. But regardless, we're working with it. And on the day, let's see, on the 14th, on the 14th, we have that, the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. And that could give a boost in trying to find creative solutions because there will be a T-square with Mars and Jupiter. Venus and Virgo will be involved. Saturn and Pisces, it's going to be a lot of, and Saturn and Jupiter, Saturn squaring Jupiter, Venus opposing Saturn, Mars, adding fuel to this, which begins in, by the 14th. And, but in Gemini, maybe there's more than one option. It's like the Lover's card. Maybe you need to do more networking. Maybe you need to reconsider the choice and go with somebody or something else. Mars forming a sextile to the North Node today and tomorrow, and even affecting this new moon chart. There may be faded connections and opportunities in this. Although Venus is in conjunct Neptune in the chart, there's a readjustment. Juno, which is also an asteroid for partnering, is part of a grand trine. That's very positive energy. And we also have, the Venus-Uranus energy. There may be breakups this weekend with Venus square Uranus. There may be some sudden twists and turns with financial agreements or endeavors. Could be opportunities out of the blue for making money, and maybe you get a last minute invite. The new moon in Leo is an awesome new moon. The sun loves being there. And it's interesting, though, that Venus in that chart is in conjunct Neptune, and up until the end of the month, Venus will enter its dignity. When it leaves Virgo on the 29th and it ingresses into the sign of Libra, Venus loves being in Libra and will be there then for a while. But I think just realizing that on the 7th of August, right after Mercury retrogrades, Mercury is going to meet up with Venus. And that also is a time to decide what can you, it's good for connecting with other people. People that have that in their chart are often very kind. They often have a good speaking voice or singing voice, but they're also good negotiators. They're good for dealing with people and being political. And so, although Venus is not great in Virgo, it is good for saying, hey, you missed this detail, you missed that. I'll definitely be working with that one. And with Mercury, how can you fix this? So there's a lot to deal with. Definitely set intentions, plant new seeds, do the law of abundance with the new moon on Sunday. Again, it's going to be at 7:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 12 degrees and 34 minutes of Leo. See where that falls in your chart. That is where you're starting new beginnings. And I think Mars in Gemini, it's going to be there through September 4th. Also, it's been there since July 20th. And, it is very good for networking and choosing different options, maybe doing a little bit of travel, going to different neighborhoods, mixing it up a little bit. We all need to mix it up a little bit and not stay stagnant, because Neptune in Pisces at this last degree can make you want to escape the world. And that we don't want. And that's where I do like Jupiter in Gemini for all of us right now, although it is in its detriment, because it's expanding through learning, through networking locally, supporting local businesses, connecting in person if you're able, because the mental health issue and epidemic is so alarming. So that's it in a nutshell for now. Focus on the new moon. What do you want to improve this month? Middle of the month's going to be intense. I am going to write an article where I'm much more linear and do that tomorrow on the new moon, on Mercury retrograde, because remember, it retrogrades in Virgo again on Sunday at 4 degrees and 7 minutes. It returns the sign of Leo, where Venus is in the new moon chart. It gets to 29 Leo on August 14th, which is the day Mars meets up with Jupiter in Gemini, kind of expanding a Mars tone, but also hopefully enthusiasm. It stations direct on on August 28th at 21 degrees and 34 minutes of Leo. It leaves Leo altogether on September 9th, which is my friend's birthday, and it remains in Virgo through September 26th. Good luck. Reassess what you want to improve. Set intentions what makes your heart happy, and know that you want to be extra flexible this month. And on the world stage, there'll be a lot of twists and turns and changes. So we will see. And good luck, and thank you.